Alright, everybody. Kill the music early. So, I'm just wrapping these plushies up. That's it. So, get in the chat, whatever, say hi, we'll shoot the shit. Otherwise, I'm just gonna get to work here. Damn, that snuck up on me. One second. Am I playing Marvel versus Capcom stuff? At some point, I'll actually do a tribute to the games. When I get around to Game Cave 1-2, there'll be a Marvel versus Capcom review in there. So that will happen. In the meantime, after I'm done with Final Fantasy 7 and 9, I do have two giant X-Men pieces. An X-Men Age of Apocalypse and an X-Men 90s piece. I have some more like um, sketches and stuff I'll do, you know. But in terms of like the single character Copic with the big background, not in a while. Uh, I'm saving that stuff for like commissions. So as I transition into doing more of my own books and stuff, I gotta dole that stuff out. So it's getting there. I'm definitely going to be divvying up the stuff I draw. So there won't just be, you know, there'll be a lot more stuff to buy though, like commissions and sketches and stuff. You know? So I'm certain, you know, when I have 20 little like bust or head sketches to do either Copic or Saucy, someone's going to be like, I want a Venom. And then that'll happen, you know. Gambit, the background. Well, I budget my time pretty well, dude. You know, so um, but those like the Gambit thing, like okay, well, they were just standing there, right? Remember that stuff? Like I've been trying to figure out what to do with that, and I think what I'm going to do, and this is something that I've been practicing with, and you'll see a little bit more of this recently soon, is taking those kinds of roughies and then drawing them traditionally, and then digitally inking them and doing like a cell shade or something. So, but we'll see. I don't know. I don't know yet how I'm gonna work that stuff in. Sometimes I start an idea and I'm like, I don't know where that fits yet, and so it sits there and waits. You know. I do know I'll do a Marvel versus Capcom piece, a big piece on Game K1-2 like this, but like two pieces, like Marvel versus Capcom. So there'll be that. And that'll be my Marvel vs. Capcom 2 art. That will go with the video game review in Game K1-2. So, but in terms of just randomly drawing a bunch of single characters, um, not as much. You know, other than to say that I could see for commissions. So like, let's say I did a roughie of like Gambit and Rogue the way I did that. Okay, better yet, have you seen the April O'Neil I did recently? I drew. So like with that April, I'll be scanning that and digitally tracing it and doing like a cell shade color. So I could see myself doing something like that where you get like the pencils and like a metallic print of the final colors as a you know, as a bonus, like for people who buy Game Cave or something, you know, or maybe a Copic piece or something. Well, I got to figure that out. It's a matter of time, you know. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Best has commissions. So, but I've been thinking about that. Like, I could do it as commissions that didn't end up in a sketchbook. So I've been thinking, like, okay, so what if I did? I got ideas for that, you know. So, but a lot of the time I allotted for those Venom Spider-Man pieces and stuff was also to work out coloring digital backgrounds or you know, like drawing buildings and how to color them economically. And from that development of the Okami, of the Venom, of the Spider-Man, um, of the Strider, from that development came the gradient maps process that I use now, which works really, really well for coloring characters, backgrounds, you know, um, which is what's going to get me through all my background painting on Game Cave and everything else rather quick. But like I did those initial sketches of Cable, with all the weapons and stuff. And I'm like, that would make a really good commission. I'm thinking, either Copic or Cell Shade or Saucy, depending on how it works. So what I'll do is when I get to it, uh, which will be in a month or so, I'll get to it sometime by the summer. Uh, I'll have, I'll do some tests and we'll work it out. But yeah, definitely for the more complicated stuff, I'm doing team ups like you see here, rather than one individual character. You know. All right, so let's take this. I appreciate it. It's not even about that. It's just what I'm interested in doing. You know what I mean? I'm not, and I think what I'm most interested in doing is my game cave stuff. So working this stuff into that, and then allowing for things like those commissions, because people like that stuff. I don't try to really think about what's going to make me a lot of money, man. That I try to get out of. It's the least amount of thing I try to do. You know, I really start with what I want to do, and then what's kind of responsible with my time so that, you know, you can be consistent. And what people are asking for too. I take that into pretty big consideration. I appreciate that. So when I do get people asking me, hey, we can do more superhero stuff. So then I get people asking me, when can you do commissions? And I think the best thing for that is for those two things to occur. But not everyone likes, Copic markers. Not everyone likes watercolor. Some people like the digital look. So it's being able to say, how can I do the digital colors and be economical? You know. So I'm going to be doing a version of the Batgirl soon that gets colored digitally. The one that I did that was all saucy. Um, and then obviously that April. And I think between the two, I'll be able to gauge how long that sort of thing takes so that those sorts of things can happen. And they don't have to be like at super crazy detailed level like this. They can be, good enough. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Hans. I think it's important to show too that, not everything can be done super fast. Like, one of the reasons why digital painting's taken off in the last 10 years is because of the speed. However, you start hand drawing every little element, you know, those things take longer. And I know like artists get really big on how long things take. And I think if you focus too much on that, you can end up being in a situation where everything you make looks like what everyone else is making. And if no identity comes across in what you're doing, if no one can see, you did that, then I don't see the point, like, but I get companies are moving that way. They don't want any artist to be recognizable. They want to be able to replace people, you know, as easily as possible. So it's a point in my career I've had to really think about carefully. So, but one of the things I enjoy hearing when people go, man, dude, I didn't know like that took that long, and I'm like, yeah, well, sometimes it really does. And I think that's okay, because in the scheme of things, this stuff is getting done way fast. Like when I was a kid, it took 4 people. It'd take an art director to kind of lay it out. It'd take an artist to draw it, an inker, and then a colorist. By drawing Dragon Ball Z stuff. Um, I recently did a quick saucy sketch. I'll be doing some saucy sketches on Dragon Ball Z, just little quick sketches, because I do have a big piece um, coming up in a month or so. The last Kickstarter, I let people choose what they wanted me to draw, and Dragon Ball Z was one of them. So I only got room for one. It's one 11 by 17 size piece. So I'll probably work like, 4 or 5 characters in. I gotta limit it at some point. Plus, additional details. I'll be honest, man, although I'm very familiar with the property and Akira Toriyama's artwork, very familiar. Um, not familiar with the show. It wasn't really my thing when I was a kid. So I gotta ask people what characters they want to see, because I'm not. Plus, it was harder to get a hold of that shit when I was a kid. Like, you couldn't just go down the street and buy all the manga, you know? Like, you could kind of get it at Comic Con once a year when you went there, and even then, they would overcharge for it. I mean, videotapes with anime on were like 50, $60 a pop for like 2 episodes. Um, we didn't even have access to video CD rips. One second, ants. 1 second. Let me second. Hey, ants. Give me 1 second. I will definitely talk about the game cave stuff. I'm about to give Ashley some advice, so just give me a second here. All right, just bear with me. Sorry, everybody. I had to help Ashley with some stuff. I didn't want to restart the stream. So. Ants asked, "How is my game save coming?" Don't know much about it. Mostly watch reviews when the house is settled and I'm practicing. It's going great. Um, I send all the text to for copy editing at the end of the month. 1-2, 1-3, half of 1-2 is written. Uh, all the structures worked out for both. And I'm on target for 1-1 to come out this year. And then 6 to 8 months after that, 1-2, and then so forth and so forth. So the goal is to do one game cave and one original story a year, but I'll probably do 1-1 and then 1-2 right after one another so I can just improve on time efficiency. So it's awesome. It's a fully developed universe. So this particular piece will end up being in that game cave and a Chrono Trigger review. So what's up, Hector? If you're still around. What's your opinion on the Letraset Pro markers? Letraset Pro markers. Teaching myself to draw when I get time for myself. I don't know about the Letraset Pro markers. I use the Copics because I can just refill, those. I would say with any marker work, uh, be sure you can go light, start light, and go dark. It's a transparent medium, so a lot of times when people buy sets, marker sets are filled with super dark colors because they're blowing out their inventory and they make an immediate impact. So whatever you're using, start light. What I would also consider is, regardless of markers, you can use your pro sets, whatever, is get yourself some colored pencils. I prefer the Faber-Castell Polychromos. Don't buy a big set. Buy some as you need them, but use those to blend. If you want to get nice smooth blends, get the markers going, and then once they're done, you can use the colored pencil to blend between the two layers of color on marker. Save yourself a lot of time and ink because you can only saturate a page so much before you'll get nothing else out of it. Yeah, that's fine. Don't worry about, use what you got. So I would just say um, color a copy, you know, of whatever you're working on. Even if you're working on other people's pencils, you're just coloring stuff for fun. That's fine. Color a copy. Uh, and allow yourself a little bit of experiment before you start. Like that's why I always try to. I do a Copic guide where I sit down and I experiment with the colors and figure out I want this and that, and you write down the code or the process for achieving the look you're wanting to get. And start as light as possible and use color to, darker colors to create contrast, or if you're going to use shades, use those contrasts, the darker colors to pop out things or to push brighter areas forward. If that makes any sense. That's a way of working in extra characters without having to draw every character, right? Well, I try to keep the plushy faces kind of a similar facial style, just for time, you know. But yeah, he's one of the knights that are in the game. You gotta make sure these lines aren't running through the characters. That seems about right. I back Mighty Number Nine. I did that cover for Retro Magazine. You know, their first issue with Mighty Number Nine. So hope they release the game this year. I want it to be a win. You know. Sometimes they overdo that. What character do I enjoy drawing always? I don't know. I guess I don't have a favorite character. That sound weird? I think I consider drawing to still be hard, you know? So every time I draw, I'm not stressing out about it, but I can't exactly say I'm like, oh, I'm having a great time. This is the best time of my life. It's like, okay, I'm keeping, like, it's like driving. I enjoy driving, but my mind is constantly working to make certain I don't kill myself or get killed. So, like, drawing's a lot like that for me. Like, okay, construction shape, make sure that character looks like this, that's going over here, you know? Only time I'm like not thinking like that is when I'm the act of actually painting. Painting's more fun. Um, I enjoy writing in terms of creating ideas and developing that and reading the dialogue. When it comes to drawing, I don't really be like, oh man, I can't wait to, oh, Spider-Man, I can't wait. Like, I'm like, oh no, drawing a Spider-Man. All right, so let me see. This time I'll do it like this, and this needs to be, what version is it? And I got, okay, okay, he's got that. And, oh, that foot don't look right. And, someone's gonna be like, Spider-Man doesn't have 16 webs on his face. He has 12, and I got the count wrong. And you know, it probably comes from having worked with a lot of very, very picky art directors and licensors. You know, everything I do is constantly like judged and graded, so like I do it to myself. Okay, no, this and that, and this over here. Don't forget about this character, and this character needs to look this way, and this character's always happy. So if you make him look mad, that's not going to fit. That's what it's like in my head when I'm drawing all the time, you know? And I look, Link's sword, it looks like it's bending a certain way, and that won't look right. And, you know, his eyes are actually blue, not blue-green. And oh shit, I got the color wrong. Gotta go back and fix that. When someone's like, I love sitting around drawing this stuff, I'm just like, they must be a genius. Like, you know? Well, I'm proud of the work. You know, when I get done, I'm like, oh yeah, that looks fucking cool. I'd buy that. But, you know, in art departments, the ones that I've worked in, everything you do is graded. Everything you did was judged. You know, why'd you do this? Why'd you put that there? And I'm like, I don't know why I put that. You better have a good reason. You know, don't you know you can't, Star Wars can't have neon shirts? I mean, shit that you've seen now, I mean, it's ridiculous. Yeah. Licensors want to know why you did things and you have to answer to them. Even when I was at Play Magazine and I was drawing game stuff for Dave, he'd be like, I did this critters piece, a bunch of different critters. You know, he picked all the characters and I put all these game consoles in there. It's the first time I did that, matching the characters with the consoles. And he was like, why are you drawing these consoles? We just need the characters. You're wasting time. And I'm like, because it doesn't make any sense. You know, they put the consoles. It's like history. It's about a historical piece. And then I had Sackboy holding the Game Boy because that was the newest game on mobile, holding the first mobile game. And I was like, that makes sense. And then Dave was like, why is Sackboy holding the Game Boy? He's Sony. Nintendo would never do that. And I'm like, fuck, Dave, dude. You know what I mean? Like, shit, man. I don't know. You know, like, because made sense, I guess. And it's irony, like, mm, but I would draw Ratchet and it would be like, his face isn't right. And I'd just sit there for 4 hours getting the face just right, you know? Why are you drawing plushies? Because it's easier to add extra characters like plushies than it is to sit around and draw every character perfectly every time. Well, there is that thing they call Rob Rage, where I get all mad. It really made me question why I became an artist in the first place, you know, for the longest time. I've had to reevaluate what I want. That's why I came up with Game Cave, you know, so I can just give myself work to do, you know, which is easier said than done, right? Because why aren't you working for Marvel or DC? You're wasting your talent, shit like that. And I'm like, because they wouldn't put up. I don't, because I can't draw fast. Like, I don't know. But to answer your question, there is no character I'm like, ah man, I get to draw that character again. That's amazing. They're all about equal. Some are less than others. I'll say that much. Like I stopped drawing covers for Tom because he wanted me to draw girls on pole dancing, which I don't have a problem with. It's just I had done enough of them. I'm like, I've got like 6 of these. I don't need any more, man. But you know, artists tend to make more money doing the same thing over and over again. And I'm like, well, I just don't want to do that over and over again. You know, I want to be able to draw this fun stuff, you know, and still have serious storylines with cartoony characters and not be treated like I have to be the guy who draws Richie Rich because I draw like cartoons and shit, you know. I enjoy constructing these complex pieces and I enjoy painting the saucy stuff. And I think the Copics look cool when they're done. When I'm coloring Copic stuff, that's hard because nothing is by accident. So with the watercolor, I can render the shapes and then let the medium give me something, you know, um, that I'm not doing. The medium itself is giving me something. But with Copics, every little like this, every little tick has to be it's intentional, you know. So when I see the Copics up close on my desk, you know, they always look better than they do when you put them on the internet. Um, I enjoy that because I'm like, wow, that's like really colored. That's pretty cool, man. You know, never thought I would be able to do that. I've only recently started liking the saucy stuff that I've been doing, so it's getting there. I mean, this I enjoy that. You know, this is worth the effort, right? Like, there, that's my Chrono Trigger piece. Boom. Yeah. But only 4 more to go. Maybe 5. I don't even know if I can use them as a fallback, man. I'm just not fast enough. You know, my fallback would be getting a part-time job at like Fry's Electronics, and then continuing to do. I think at this point, man, I turned 38 this year, so I'm like, if I get opportunities because of the work I create, that I'm interested in. But in terms of like, I'll go there for work for art, I've already done that, and working full time as an artist, um, didn't help my life, in the way I thought it would. If anything, like I always say, like the thing I thought would make me a professional artist was going to an art school and becoming a full-time professional paid artist. And the thing that made me never want to draw again was going to art school and becoming a paid full-time professional artist. you know, I used to think, is it because of the effort? And it's like, nope, because look at what I'm doing now. It's because of the opinions, and the crazy, I've worked at Kinko's. They don't exist anymore. They're a FedEx office now. So believe me, I would have gone back to doing that, you know, running the copy machines in the morning, being on my feet, talking to people. If Kinko's was how it was 10 years ago when I worked there, I would have just gone back to that and not ever done the power prints. But I don't know. Now I'm at a point where I think I don't have to even do that. I could just do the books and the sketches and the commissions and it'll be enough. So that's, I've got enough to put away to experiment with that plan for a year or two. So, you know, if it doesn't work out, if I still need to bring in the side money, after a year or two, then I'll find something. But uh, it won't be, please make me an artist at DC so I can have 6 months of work and then 9 months of no work. And it takes, I mean, right now I still got an invoice that's pushing 60 days. Every time I do a cover, they don't pay me on time. I don't understand, you know? Even when they promise to, they don't. Like net 30, man, you know? Even net 30 is ridiculous. You turn in your cover, you still got to wait 30 days to get paid. It's like, you got your shit, give me mine, you know? So it's that game they play with you know? So luckily, I don't have to earn much to make a difference. Yeah, it's so important, you know? So important. So I've been smart, guys. Like I'm working it. I don't get heavily involved into what I'm doing to make all this stuff happen, but I've put my money away. I don't spend it on expensive things like cars and bullshit. Paying my student loans off should be done this year, finally. Which is a record. You know, um, that'll be done. Which gives me more money. You know, we have a dual income house, so my wife she works. And I supported her for the first several years of our relationship, so she's she's hooking it up. You know, having a day job doesn't help. You know, in the getting better department, it helps in the, well, I'll only do one thing department, game cave. You know, so the ideal situation is to just do whatever I want. I think going to, you know, somewhere to get an art education so long as you were piecemealing it. It's when it comes at the cost of like a diploma, you know, they just overcharge. I don't think artists should be, I don't think artists with as little as we make should be 70, 90, $120,000 in debt. I just don't, before you start your career. I don't see, with all the shit you got to buy, computers, Cintiqs, paints, whatever, Copic markers, with all the shit you got to buy, it's not feasible, you know? It doesn't make any sense to me, you know? And taking a class that says perspective doesn't mean you learn perspective. It just means you took the class and they checked it off their fucking list of shit, but you could be drawing for 20 years and not grasp it, you know? Sadly, as I've seen. How can you teach quality, you know? That's been the hardest part with, Brandon's, you know, is I expect quality. I can't, I have to, you know, create quality and have him follow in form, have him follow through with my plan. I can't teach him that. He'll learn it from by doing, that's why I started doing layouts and he draws over layouts and, you know, because he has to be art directed. Schools can't do that. Art teachers can't sit down and go, okay, here's the breakdowns, the page, no, 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 you clean it up. In animation, Glenn Keane isn't animating the whole thing from start to finish. He animates keyframes that then go and get cleaned up and then enhanced, throughout by other animators. And by the way, how many 2D animation jobs are there in the United States? Like none. So, you know, like it's just strange, man. The whole thing is strange, you know? I mean, when I was in high school, at least you had the perception that you could go to some place like Image or Disney or there was DreamWorks was starting up, HBO Animation was starting up, and Fox had Nelvana, and there's all these different animation houses. You go do storyboards on The Simpsons, and no, and there's nothing. There's so little, you know. And they go, "Well, Rob, time to learn ZBrush." I'm like, you know what? No, 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 I'm not doing that. You know, I'm going to. I've had great success when I've listened to the inner force that's guided me through life. And I turned it off for 10 years, thinking, I had to do what this industry told me to do because they knew better. And all they knew how to do was get what they needed. They get their covers, they get their t-shirts, they make a lot of money. And, I'm left with a t-shirt portfolio. Quite pathetic, you know? I got a t-shirt at Walmart. Well, unless I'm personally seeing a paycheck from the sales of those shirts, it don't matter. I made $17 an hour. Who the fuck cares? Have I ever tried teaching? Here on the podcast, on the SketchCraft channel. That's what I do. That's why we do the art tips and the podcast. The podcast is there to, you got questions, I answer them. I'll do art tips, make videos. So I teach here for free. You know, every other year or so, I'll do something called DigiBooks. It's a Kickstarter where I save all these steps and then do audio commentary and high-res files and guide people how I made this stuff, the actual hard stuff. In terms of teaching in a classroom, no, I have no desire to go back to school and get a master's degree to do that. I never want to go to school again. Like, I don't ever want to sit in a classroom ever again. You know, I'm done. I'm done. You know, teaching for me at this point or learning is when I watch, or listen to audio commentaries and stuff like that. I watch movies or hear artists speak. You know. But yeah, in terms of teaching in a classroom, no, I can't imagine. I can't imagine I would do well anyway, I imagine they'd have a syllabus and an agenda that would make no sense. And I would tell the kids to not spend $80 on the book because it's ridiculous. Yeah. buy one and share it, you know, and I'd get fired. So. Yeah, there's always a little bit of a delay, right? So, yeah, anytime. I appreciate the support. You know, I appreciate the plugs on Twitter, the sharing of the videos, the thanks, Rob, the showing your progress, things you learned when you got questions. I enjoy that, you know. Ash is one of those people that, I just, that hit me up once because she heard me mention on a podcast, and I see a lot in what I see she's got a lot of talent, and I see what she's at that age I was at where I'm like, man, if someone had just said, Rob, here's what you're trying to do, maybe just like this, with your art. I can't help with career, where to apply what you should do. I don't know about that. But in terms of what you're trying to do with your art, here's how you could not kill yourself. And here's where you should kill yourself. Here's where you should put a lot of your effort. And over here, you're just spinning wheels. You know, I see the YouTube channel. I mean, I'm on YouTube for a good reason. They have the money to last. You know, I don't know if Twitch will last. Twitch is always almost being bought up by someone else or buy it up by Amazon or someone else. I don't know if they'll be around. You know, I believe, you know, Google might merge with Facebook one day and become the world's, topple Microsoft, but they'll be around. So I'm trying to hedge bets that these videos and these conversations will be here for 10, 20 years, and they won't matter if I'm paying a bill to keep them up. Um, I really care about artists and how they spend their time and their money. Like I care deeply about that, you know. Whatever journey you're on, that you're just not wasting your time, with unrealistic expectations, or, just uncertainty, or maybe you've listened to the wrong people. You're listening to people on the internet who, are just giving horrible. The internet's crazy. Ah, thank you, Fami. Really appreciate that. And thanks, Hector. Like, here's a crazy thing I heard the other day. People on the internet actually think Marvel is paying critics to give Batman v Superman negative reviews. They believe that shit. Like, that's crazy. These companies, they collude with one another, man. Like, they need each other to be successful. They're not competing. It's all a big fake. You know, but they believe that shit. You know, and when it comes to art, they all have opinions too, and they're telling people, how many layers do you use? I don't fucking know. One, when it goes to the printer, like it all gets flattened. Like don't worry about it. You know, like well, this person uses one layer. They do the whole thing without ever looking at anything. I'm like, wonderful for them. What do you do? You know, nothing. Right, you're just over here fucking with me. Like, your whole plan is just to come over here and throw me off today because you got nothing else going on. You know, just go back to playing some of that Division or some shit. Go grief someone else. Stop griefing artists. Sit in our fucking rooms. you know, get the worst kind of like, like I wear down my chairs every 6 months. From sitting in them too much. Drawing. I don't have a gamer score for my efforts either. I just have to get the hey, good job, Rob. People are funny. So I try to hopefully, the goal is to be that guy who can help fight that voice, and back it up with, you know, some shit that some artwork that at least can be like, look, I'm not saying I'm the best. I would never say that. I'm not. But I can back my shit up. I think I know what I'm talking about. I'm not drawing flavor of the week. Oh, this week it's all polygon style art. All my stuff will be low res polygons. And next week it's giant super anime realistic heads. I'm gonna make all my stuff super giant realistic anime heads. And the week after that, oh, that month it's black and white, style. Like tattoo ink style. I'll do that now. Like I'm not that guy. I'm not chasing trends. You know? Where is that's done? He's drawn. Where he's done. No, he's done. No, this one. He's done. Alright. Yeah, when it comes to getting advice, the best thing to do is to figure out what you're trying to accomplish and how that works. And the worst thing artists tend to do is they go, well, here's how I would do this shit, and that doesn't mean anything, you know. If you're trying to accomplish, you know, storytelling in a manga, and I go as an artist, I would never draw manga, that doesn't help you, you know. And then what they'll generally go is, but look at me, I have millions of views. People obviously trust me. And I'm like, okay, great, but who cares if you have millions of views? If the device is bullshit, Hitler ran a fucking military once. You know what I mean? I didn't mean he was right. Like, given the set of criteria here, how do I best accomplish that goal? You know, what am I doing that's getting in the way of that goal? You're not seeing you in the art. Well, sometimes you need a break. It happens. I take a couple weeks off a year. I think with art, you need to have very specific goals, not just want to get better at something. A very specific goal. Like, I want to draw this and then work it from the ground up, like from construction and everything else, and work on that one piece. And if you're just randomly drawing things, you can get lost after a while, you know? Sometimes I get to a point where I'm like, what the hell am I doing? You know, like, where am I supposed to start? Where am I? That's why I have my notebooks, you know? And I'll take a day or two off and go back through the notes and figure out what am I supposed to be, improving on here? What am I working toward? Okay, this and that. And case in point, last summer, I couldn't sit here and draw for like this long on a piece, you know? Like, I would just be like, oh my God, 2 hours have passed. I'm not done yet. Like, I got stuck in that thing where they make you draw super fast at work. And it took me a while. It was the Princess Leia piece that finally broke me out of that, you know, because I couldn't move any faster. Like, it was too complex. With comfortability comes, a little bit of speed. Doesn't require as much effort. But if you get in the habit of working on things that you want to do and improving on things, who you are will come through in that art more than how you draw things. Like, oh, Rob, you draw noses like this or that. I'm like, maybe, like when I draw cartoony stuff, they might look that way, and when I draw more serious stuff, they'll look a different way. But the mindset behind it, my goal in terms of what I was trying to do with it, people go, oh, I can still tell you drew that. That's how they can see you in your art, because your intentions, your creative mindset is there. If you're just randomly doing things, for no reason, then it won't look like you did it. It'll just look like you drew some random shit. Because you know why? You drew some random shit. Like, How do I fix this stuff? Three. Mm-hmm. 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 Work path 2, fill, and then erase where needed. Do, 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 do. Did you get your view? No. No, dude. Samsung got a hold of me. They said, oh, it might not ship till summer. And Lord knows when Oculus was going to arrive. They gave me the whole, it'll ship when it ships. Oh, it ships whenever it ships. Oh, I know. Wesley walked right out with his, but T-Mobile, man, T-Mobile made you do this whole thing where you got to fill in the form and the whole bit. So now Wesley has all his shit. Me and a few other people I know, we gotta wait. Ridiculous. So apparently, if you're a T-Mobile customer, you're fucked. Like he sent me a phone. I got my stuff. I'm like gloating, you know. I'm like, you know, Wesley, this is why no one likes you. Like, you know, this is why not one person on the cast goes, "Oh, I miss Wesley." No one's ever said it, Wesley. Like, no one's ever said it. Most people go, "Who's Wesley?" He hates that. Yeah. I'm gonna try to have Bacon on more. You know, Bacon just doesn't make himself available. I tried to have him on last night when Wesley couldn't show up, but he didn't answer his phone till like midnight, you know. He's like, "Well, whenever you want to do it." I'm like, "Well, I wanted to do it at 8." Like, so, you know. But Bacon told me he was taking off from games and it was a whole thing. You can't make someone talk, you know. So, I'm probably gonna have my buddy Rich on more often. He's pretty good. If you heard him, he's on the Star Wars and the Batman v whatever cast. I might have him more often if he can be available for that. And we'll see if I can get Bacon on. I'll see if I can't rotate between Bacon and my buddy Rich. Add them in on those discussions. That might be kind of cool. We grew up together. I've known Richard since the fourth grade. We coincidentally went to basic training together, not on purpose, and we're stationed together in Germany in the army. So he's the guy I learned when I learned how to draw growing up. He was the guy who was there with me. You know, he was my art buddy. He was building costumes and doing that shit before that was popular. Like I was like, man, you know, like he would build all the costumes and our Halloween costumes every year. Yeah. So I did a Star Wars commentary, the Leia speed paint video. It's 3 hours long with him, and we cover our entire history of Star Wars growing up as kids. If you're interested, it's in the playlist. I put a direct link to it in the Rogue One trailer. There's a little card that pops up. I decided since the video was 30-something hours long, sped up 12 times, um, we should just do a commentary talking about our history of Star Wars together growing up. And we talk about going to Comic Con and other shit. So, oh, he'll be on more often for certain. You know, as he has kids, so I have to schedule shit in advance. You know. He'll jump right to the end of stories. I'm like, oh, hold on, dude. Like, we're gonna get there. Just yeah. So like, I was just saying that at the end of, I'm like, whoa, hold on, buddy. But he's a super gamer, dude. You know, more than me. I mean, he was the guy I would just let play the game, and I would sit back and draw. While he was like, okay, you beat that. Oh yeah, cool. And then I would come in and help out sometimes and let him do most of the shit. You know. And he got all the platinums on Blastcore, man. I can't do that shit like twice because the fucking card got deleted. And I'd be the moral support, right? Like, all right, no, fucking that's dope. Oh yeah, oh shit, like I was drawing and I'd go make fucking iced teas and shit like that. Oh yeah, we used to do that shit all the time, man. There we go, right? I think that's it. Let me open up my. Here's my roughie. You like that? It goes from that to there's Ashley stuff. Let me get rid of that. From that to that, right? You could still see it. I like how Robo was just like an egg. You could see she's playing with the little spaceships. Drawing from silhouettes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I need my template. So, all right, so let's go ahead and turn that off. Duplicate. Go ahead and run these lines. Here, we'll lock those. Take that, turn that off. Went to the side of your magazine that you did. Do you get anything from them? No, I don't see one dime ever from them. You just get to resell my shit forever, which is why I resell prints of the artwork that I did. But in terms of magazine sales, no, I don't see one dime. They're supposed to, but they don't. Fuck them, right? Flatten image. Image size. 300, 11, 11, 300, 7. Okay. Copy. Edit. Special paste in place. Uh, uh, there's nothing I can do about it, man. I'm not the first person those people ripped off, you know. You're talking about Game Fan, right? Yeah. No, they just resell my shit forever, you know. That's how it works. It's okay, man. Game Cave. There's a lot of what I experienced in Game Fan going in Game Cave too, so I'll make my money back one way or the other. Game Cave has already put more in my pocket than Game Fan ever did. Put it that way. They just didn't pay me much, if at all. So, whatever. You know. Yeah, don't give Dave your money. Ever. You're not supporting me. If anything, Game Cave just pisses Dave off because he's like, why can't Rob make me a game magazine? You know? He just really thinks I should just make him stuff because he was successful once. He was a millionaire, but that came and went. You know? That's why when people go, I got a million likes, I'm like, well, I know a millionaire who went out of business because he didn't know what the fuck he was doing at some point. So, like, just because you're on top of your game now doesn't mean you will be forever. So, I don't really give a lot of that shit credence. That dude was a millionaire, man. You know, like your likes don't pay employees. So when you got the kind of money where you can bankroll people and have offices and mansions and giant arcade machines and shit, that guy had money. But times change. Things change, you know. Grid, image size. Oh, that's why 300. 1.25, 7.25. Oh, well, hopefully the beginning of it, really. you know? So let's not say that that's it. Let's just say that's the beginning, right? That point where it's like, well, Rob actually did something, that it started a fire. The fire rises. Close enough, I'll fix it later. And where's my castle? I drew a castle. There we go. I'm on a boat. I need my signature. Where'd I put it? Open. I'll just open this up. Pull it from that. I don't think I ever properly made a black and white 11 by 17 template. I just always think I keep jerry rigging this thing. So I need to sit down in a day or two and really get that made. Here we go. Line arts are done, dude. Dishes are done, dude. Yeah, mega tater tots. Gonna have some flatworks to get done here pretty soon. Did I swear to goodness. I gotta fix that again. I deleted that shit. I don't know why I deleted. What did I do? Right there. Oh, because I deleted hidden layers. Let's go back to the snapshot. Edit, special, paste in place. There we go. Turn that off. I got my guide. Okay. There you go, folks. Chrono trigger. It's not every character, but it's enough, right? All right, folks. I'm going to take a break. Thanks for hanging out. Leave your comments, questions below. Follow me on Instagram, SketchCraft, Twitter, SketchCraft, SketchCraft.com, SketchCraft.com, SketchCraft.com. It's just the YouTube channel. Just fucking with you. So, there we go. All done. I will be back on after dinner. I'm going to go watch some. I'm going to eat some Thai food, break my diet a little bit, enjoy a little rice, and then come back watch some Daredevil because I have not watched that yet. I need to start that. And then I'm going to get started on, I don't know what. I got to look at my book. So I got that book. See y'all later, folks. Bye.